Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hearties, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined by my lovely co-host Brennan to talk about When Calls the Heart, Season 1, Episode 7, Second Chances. It was written by Kim Byer-Johnson and directed by Neil Fernley.
Abigail considers reopening the town's cafe after Elizabeth praises her baking. Meanwhile, Jack regrets saying something hurtful to Elizabeth in the wake of her failed romance with a minor.
So what were your first impressions on Second Chances?
Oh, I was looking forward to rewatching this episode again.
Mm-hmm.
I remembered from watching season 1 the first time, this was a favorite episode of mine. Watching Jack and Elizabeth get a little closer, get a little flirtier, and then, of course, Abigail's journey of fixing up in hopes of opening the cafe is so exciting.
Yes, I agree. So what is the emotional tone of this episode for you? So maybe one word to describe the episode.
Starting over. I know that's 2 words, just because we see Abigail's journey of thinking of her future and next steps in life and what's coming next. And even for Elizabeth, she just had this whirlwind romance, found out it was a lie with Billy, and she's, now over that. And so they're both just at a place where, what's next?
Yeah, I'd say joyful, bittersweet, and maybe a little tense because of Beau's father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love the story of Beau. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes, that's one of my favorite Elizabeth student stories in the whole series.
Yes.
Thank you for reminding me.
Of course, yes. And what is a bold or unpopular opinion about this episode, if you have one?
Bold or unpopular opinion? I think it's not really my opinion, I suppose, but I just really think that both Abigail and Elizabeth were both so bold in this episode. Elizabeth was bold in her teaching, just not giving up on teaching Beau how to read. And she even continued to do it even after what his father was saying. And Abigail was very, very bold to agree to fix up the cafe and leave her home. And we'll talk more about that. But they both were very bold in this episode.
Yeah. I think my first impression, you just said it, and this is one of my favorite student stories of the series.
It's so good.
Yeah. Not necessarily unpopular, because I really haven't seen a whole lot of comments, but I think it would be cool to see Beau come back.
I would love to see Beau come back.
Yeah.
I would, and see what he's doing now in life. And did he go off to school or did he go work, and how far he's gotten? And that would be great.
Yeah. And Beau is played by Connor Stanhope. And fun fact for all the Hardies out there who may not know that are also Hallmark mystery fans, Connor played Laurie's son in the Garage Sale mystery movies.
Oh, did he? That's amazing.
Yes. He's a great young actor.
He is.
So going to Coal Valley Chronicles, our main storylines of this episode, Jack and Elizabeth working together to help her student Beau, who has dyslexia or word blindness. Abigail begins renovating the cafe after encouragement from Elizabeth about her baking, and Jack takes the first steps towards a courtship with Elizabeth after advice from Abigail. Yay.
Yay!
And I think that answers part of the what this episode set in motion portion of this segment. Cough, cough, Jack takes the first steps
Mm,
towards his courtship.
it's starting.
Yes. What else do you think this episode set in motion that you can think of?
Well, obviously the beginnings of the cafe.
Cafe. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Of course.
And, you know, for those that watched it live, I'm sure many of us couldn't have predicted where the cafe would go, but it's obviously lasted this whole
Yeah.
time. That's amazing. And for Elizabeth too, I think she really continued to grow as a
Yeah.
teacher and as a person in this episode. And I think it definitely seemed like it was another moment for her of showing herself what she can do for others, for a student of hers, when she chooses not to give up, when she
Yes.
chooses to kind of push past the boundaries and push past just teaching in the classroom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hearts of the Valley. Which character do you think changed the most in this episode?
Well, I think the most, I'm thinking of three: Abigail, Bo, and Bo's father.
Yes.
But to be honest, really, I think it might be Bo's father because
Yeah.
he didn't have very many scenes, but he was so against and so resistant to Bo learning how to read and continuing his education. And just seeing when he got to watch his son read at the end of the episode and he gets emotional. And I mean, what a huge change in just one episode.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
have to agree with you. I think Bo's father changed the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene when he comes home from the mine and he's I think about to, wash his hands, get the coal dust off of his hands, just basically clean up after being at work all day. And he
Mm-hmm.
hears Elizabeth teaching Bo these exercises and he gets really upset. He storms in the house
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, this is when he's still so against it. Bo's mother says that, she gave Elizabeth permission and she didn't tell him, meaning his dad, because she didn't want him to nix it before Elizabeth even had the chance. And
Yes.
Bo goes upstairs because his dad, says that he needs to talk to Elizabeth and she's trying to defend helping Bo,
Yeah.
with the exercises. And, he gives an ultimatum. Basically, you have a week to teach him how to read, or he comes to work with me in the mine because he'll be 16 at that point. He's 15 currently, but he'll be 16
Yeah.
the following week. And, she's saying 1 week is not enough time. We have to figure out just the right way to get through to Bo with his learning disability.
Yeah.
And he basically just says that he doesn't want to see Bo get hurt because this world can be so cruel, which is true. I mean, I understand where he's coming from,
Yeah.
but I do love how Bo's mom said, as long as you're not the one doing the crushing.
Mm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. His mom turned out to be a real supporter.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
a great scene.
That was a really good scene.
It was
Yeah.
tough to watch, but it was still a
Mm-hmm.
good scene.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's a top scene for sure.
I think a moment of conflict for that storyline, so the one with Bo, would be that scene that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Growth, the one at the end when he finally comes around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just very raw, obviously emotional. All those actors just did a fantastic job.
Yes, I think so
Writing
too.
was great. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think Abigail changed some too in this
Hmm.
episode,
Yeah, completely.
deciding to renovate the cafe. And, she goes to Henry to see if he will basically be an investor in the cafe. And I wouldn't say it's conflict, but, kind of a back and forth
Hmm.
conversation, meeting, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. He's saying
Hmm.
that he doesn't think it's a good idea. And at first he says, you get 25%, 75% goes to the company, meaning, the earnings from the cafe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she bargains and she says 50-50. So I think even though Henry was reluctant, he still showed some growth.
Hmm. That I agree with you. That's really true because he could have flat out said no,
No.
no, no. But even giving her the chance,
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely
Yes.
shows, okay, he does have some grace. He does obviously have a little faith in her that it would be possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think it's at the end of this episode, or maybe it's episode 8, which we'll talk about in a little while. But he does kind of backtrack when she's walking out of the cafe. I think it was after she signed the contract.
Hmm.
And he's like, this town will never support a cafe. If that were the case, I would have opened one myself. And you hear
Hmm.
that music in the background, like, dun, dun, dun.
Yes. I know. Of course, he has to be season one Henry and just give that last little jab, that last
Yeah.
little dig. And then of course he kind of gives her an ultimatum, saying, well, you'd have
Yeah.
to give me back your house and
Yeah.
move into the cafe. And so it's typical season one Henry.
Right. Yes.
But Abigail, she takes it on because that would have been really easy for her to say, you know what? Yeah, forget it. I'm staying in my house.
Yeah. And we didn't mention this character, but I also think Jack grew some in this episode because we see him
Mm.
make amends with Elizabeth. And we will talk about that scene because that is one of their best scenes.
It's so good. It's one of my favorites.
Yes. And a moment of, I think, growth for Jack was that scene when he goes to the row house to make amends.
I think so too. He took Abigail's advice and
Yeah.
he walked in there.
Moments of vulnerability. I think the scene with him and Abigail.
Hmm. What is the
Mhm.
animal that he uses as an example?
The bear, deer, and the skunk.
Thank you.
We will talk about that scene too, because that's one of my favorite scenes in the entire show.
It's so good.
Yes. And then a moment of conflict for Jack and
Hmm.
Elizabeth in this episode. Not necessarily conflict where they're bickering. Jack is just putting his foot in his mouth again.
Hmm.
It's the one when he brings her the trunk full of books. And I don't have the exact line written down, but he was saying Billy fooled her and he says, I'm not saying you're a fool. And then I think, she is asking, basically, what are you saying? And then
Hmm.
I think he follows up with something along the lines of, women of a certain age can be fooled by someone like Billy. Elizabeth says, I think, now you're calling me desperate. I really wish I could sit here and chat, but as you can see, I'm very busy. Good day.
Oh my goodness. She kind of lets him squirm because she could have cut him off at any point, but
Yeah.
she kind of makes him stand there and continue to try to get these words out, and it's not going well.
Nope. Not at all.
Poor Jack. Because we know he's not trying to be offensive, but
No.
from Elizabeth's side, she has no idea where all this is coming from.
No. Again. Foot in mouth, Jack. Foot in mouth.
Hmm. Hmm. He's trying so hard. It's so sweet.
He had a couple of foot in mouth moments this episode.
He sure did. He really did. I like that about Jack. He really just truly says what is in his head
Yeah.
sometimes, and
Yeah,
maybe what's even in his heart, even if it doesn't make sense.
for sure. Yes. So, no Mountie Watch scenes in this episode. No
Mm-mm.
Mountie related work.
No, that's okay. He just had a lot with Billy, so
Yes. We did have some other Mountie action, though.
we definitely did. I was gonna say we sure had other action.
Shout out Catherine.
Love you, girl.
Other Mountie action.
Hmm. Which we love just as
Yes.
much.
So, community chatter. There were only a couple of group scenes in this episode.
Mhm.
There were two at school, if you exclude the Jack and Elizabeth scene where it's them talking. The one that we just were discussing. So the first one, I think it's the very first scene of the episode. James is
Mhm.
making fun of Bo because of his reading. And, Elizabeth comes to Bo's defense.
Mhm.
And Elizabeth defending her students. I love how to James, she's like, in my classroom, I get to determine what's fair and what isn't fair. And then, he has a comeback comment. And then she says, well, your old teacher isn't in charge anymore. I am.
Mm-hmm. Tell him, teach.
Yes, Elizabeth. Uh,
You said it.
James can be a bit of a bully.
He can really be a bully. He really can. But that's what makes just this firmness from Elizabeth so good, because he listens to her and he stops and he backs down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's what she's doing. It's working.
Yeah. He's had a couple moments already. He was a
Mm-hmm.
bully to Bo. He was a bully to Albert.
Mm-hmm.
Pockets.
Yes.
Not cool, James.
Nope.
Why you gotta be so mean?
Yes. Shout out to
Someday,
Tay.
Bo will be living in a big old city. Uh,
So good. He probably is, honestly.
oh my
I
gosh.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
He's off being successful.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And then we see another scene at school where they're reading in class, but it's Emily doing the reading. And, we see Bo look over at Emily and Elizabeth. Emily is like, this is too easy. Can I go to the next level, Miss Thatcher?
Yeah. Yes.
So
And of
cute.
course, sweet Emily, she's obviously a great reader, and she didn't mean anything by it,
Yeah. Such
but
a sweet moment. I think those are really the only group scenes actually in this episode.
hmm I think so too. I mean, I don't know if we can count this because it's not really people talking, but at the very end of the episode, you see all the folks lined up at the cafe.
Yeah. Kind of a group scene, but kind of
Kind
not. Yeah.
of.
And what would you say is the act of kindness or community spirit for this episode, or just how the community came together?
Well, I definitely think the community proved Henry wrong by
Mhm.
showing up because they smelled Abigail's baking, and
Yes.
before it's even open, they showed up
Hmm.
lying down the street. And that's a huge support for Abigail in the cafe.
Yeah.
And then I also think Jack and Elizabeth, in a way, just being members of their community, helping Bo, and
Yeah.
Abigail helping Jack,
Yeah.
Elizabeth giving advice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another one that I wrote down, and it might be a little bit more obscure, but Jack helping the Millers with the bird's nest that was in the flue, I think is what he said. And he puts it in the oak
Oh,
tree by the well.
yes. Oh, yes. That was so sweet.
Yes, because Laurel was worried about lighting the stove
Mm. Oh,
because of the bird.
that is such a yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a
Yeah.
really sweet scene.
Yes. And not really community chatter related, but may I just say that outfit that Jack wore in that scene when he's at the Millers, that's one of my favorite Jack looks of season one. The blue shirt really
Mhm.
makes his eyes pop.
It sure does. It sure does. He has a great wardrobe season one.
Yes.
All of the clothes he wears, I'm just like, Jack, chef's kiss, you look great.
The suspenders with the blue shirt.
Mm-hmm. So good. So good.
Yes. Not a plaid shirt, but that is like season one Bluey.
It's totally season one Bluey. It's Jack's Bluey.
Jack's Bluey. Yes.
They both had a Bluey
Yes.
and they both look great.
Yes. For sure. So, Coal Valley highlights. What were the top three scenes for you in this episode?
Ooh, top three scenes for me would be the scene that we talked about with Bo finally reading and his dad witnessing that. And the saloon scene when Elizabeth is researching how to give this test to Bo and Jack goes in, and I
Yes.
love that scene. And then remind me if it's just one scene, but when you see Abigail, she's in the cafe, and there's a lot of work obviously to be
Mhm.
done, but you see her starting to do things, starting to clean it up. And I just really like that because
Yeah.
for a minute it looks kind of hopeless, like, oh my gosh, how is she going to do this by herself? And she could
Mhm.
just walk out, but
Yeah.
she chooses to stay and start cleaning. And yeah,
Yeah.
she's making the choice to make the cafe happen.
Yes. Agreed. So, for me, top three scenes in no particular order. Abigail's advice to Jack about Elizabeth. So, the bear, deer, and skunk talk. And I have
Yes, me too.
the advice written down. Perhaps the deer's pride is hurt. Maybe seeing the bear reminds her that she was silly enough to trust a skunk. Furthermore, the bear was saving the deer from an untrustworthy animal, but didn't seem to have any interest in replacing him. Billy was not the right man for Elizabeth. He was indeed a skunk. But one day there will be an appropriate man, a good man, who will approach Elizabeth with honorable intentions, and then she will be taken.
That is such a good scene. Okay, I want to switch mine. That's my top two.
Yes. And not exactly the same words. And in this other case that I'm referring to, it was stated by a male character. You might know where I'm going with this. This line, or a part of Abigail's advice to Jack when she's saying, one day there will be an appropriate man, a good man who will approach Elizabeth with honorable intentions. It reminds me a little bit of the scene in Signed, Sealed, Delivered, One in a Million
Mhm.
at the end when they're all on the DLO with Nikki, who is, part of the letter story of that movie. And, she's talking about her, at the time, ex boyfriend. And he says something along the lines of, there's a vast difference between choosing a good man and finding the right man.
Mhm.
And then basically, the next part of that is, not giving up until you find both.
Mhm. That's such a good line.
Yeah,
That's so beautiful. So
me
true.
too. Yes. Another favorite scene. Jack making amends with Elizabeth. So the row house scene, when he
Mhm.
basically comes in, it's not a very long scene,
Mhm.
but there is so much said in this scene that speaks volumes.
Mhm.
He comes in, he takes her hands, and he says, life is too short for us to hold on to petty grievances. He follows up with, if you ever need anything, even if you have the smallest care in the world, you can count on me. Knock on my door, day or night. And if you give me a second chance, I can do better than chili and cornbread at the saloon.
Jack, it's so good.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, he's so sweet.
yeah.
I do love that scene. I'm with you. He just
Yes.
leaves her speechless. It's
Yep.
beautiful.
And knock on my door day or night. That was total foreshadowing
Hmm.
to later
Oh,
on in the episode.
it totally was.
Yes.
Yep, he meant it.
Abigail's talk with Elizabeth about finding your purpose. So this is
Mhm.
when she comes in after, I think, a couple of nights working
Mhm.
at the cafe. She missed dinner. Elizabeth had leftovers.
Mhm.
And, Elizabeth is wondering where she's been.
Mhm.
And Abigail explains, and she just looks really downtrodden, so to speak.
Yeah.
And she says, as she's looking at the measurements on the wall, I
Mhm.
guess from her son, Peter,
Mhm.
I'm no longer a wife. I'm no longer a mother. I'm just struggling to find my purpose now. And then
Mhm.
Elizabeth, with the great advice that she gives, before I came here, I thought my purpose was teaching at one of those big city schools. God shut that door and he opened up another one, a much more meaningful one, that is teaching here in Coal Valley. And I just know that God will show you what he wants for you too.
Mhm. Oh, that's such a beautiful conversation. So many
Yeah.
great conversations in this episode.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was a while back, but there was an edit, a reel that I made combining this scene in the row house with Abigail and Elizabeth and the scene in season 10, episode 11 with Elizabeth and Rosemary.
Oh.
The one when she finally admits that she was running from
Mhm.
fear, running out of fear.
Mhm. Yes. Oh, I'll have to go back and look at
Yes,
that.
I will include the link to that edit that I did
Yes.
in the
Please
description.
do. Please
Yes.
do. There's something so special about these conversations that
Mhm.
happen at night. I
Yeah.
mean, all of our favorite conversations,
Yes.
most of them really have happened at night.
Night.
Yes. They're
Yes.
it's just that magical hour.
Yes. So, honorable mentions. You said it, Jack inviting Elizabeth to dinner and,
Mhm.
her initially declining at first. Actually,
Mhm.
that was the night I was planning on cleaning out my closet.
Mhm. I
Oh,
love how he's so sweet and he's obviously worked up the courage to ask her to dinner and
yeah.
he's as himself. And then she just completely stumps him again and she's saying, so by dinner, you mean I'm going to cook?
Look,
And then he kind of backtracks and goes, well,
I haven't
no,
thought.
I didn't mean like that. And she says, well, then what? Dinner at the saloon?
Mhm.
And you can tell Jack is just thinking, oh no, I'm stumped now.
I didn't think this
Where do I
through.
go? What do I say? It's so cute.
Yes. And then the one when they have dinner and he says, you look really beautiful tonight. And then, she starts to give him the test and he's like, that's a lot of P words I didn't quite grasp. Here's another P word for you. Please just do as I ask.
Oh, it's so good. And then they have that moment where they're fighting over the paper and
That was at the end. That was the last scene of the episode. Do you stay up at night just thinking of ways to drive me batty?
Mhm.
Don't have to. It just sort of comes out naturally.
They just get so lost in their own little world, and
Yeah.
then they're jolted out of it because all these other men are like looking at them, and they get
Yeah.
kind of embarrassed. But it's so good.
And Easter eggs in this episode, so I guess it can be considered an Easter egg. So it's the same scene when Jack is at the Millers
Mhm.
and, he's helping with moving the bird. Jolene is reading a book to her sister. I don't know what the book is.
Mhm.
Morgan Rose is her sister's name. And part of what she's reading, there's a mention of a wooden leg, foreshadowing much.
Mm. Gosh, I don't think I even caught that. Oh, good catch. Total foreshadowing.
If you're watching for the first time, it's something that you might not realize is
Mhm.
foreshadowing. But once you've
Yes,
seen it a couple times, you're like, oh, that was total foreshadowing.
it all makes sense.
Yes. Also, I think someone made an edit with this scene, but when Jack is talking to Elizabeth at the unofficial opening of the cafe,
Mhm.
he says, I guess it proves if you want something bad enough, you find a way to get it. Someone made an edit with that scene and the scene from the Easter episode when Nathan says something
Oh,
along the same lines. I think it
yeah.
might have been Lindsay.
I think you might be right. I've seen that one.
Mountie with Heart. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Hey, girl.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful
Oh,
edit. So,
beautiful edit.
kind of an Easter egg because
I
it's,
think so.
yeah,
Absolutely. I think so. 11 seasons apart, it still works.
yes.
These men, they're very like-minded,
Yeah,
you know?
very true. So, who do you think had the best actor performance of this episode?
Oh, that's a tough one to choose. Oh my goodness. For me, it might be between Dan and Aaron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Or
Yeah,
Lori.
just and Lori, true, because all of them really had
Yeah,
quite a range. I mean, from confused
yeah,
to flirty to serious
yeah.
to
Hmm.
determined. I mean, yeah, all three of them had great performances.
Yes, I think so too. So, three-way tie again.
Yeah.
So, the best quote of the episode for me, it has some similarities to what Jack told Elizabeth when he goes to make amends. And
Mhm.
actually, the scene at the Millers was right before the scene when he goes to make amends with Elizabeth. He's talking to Laurel, about Adam coming back, and she's
Mhm.
just saying, when he comes home, I don't think I'll ever let him leave the house.
Mhm.
And then she follows up with, when you almost lose someone you care about, you realize all those little arguments over simple things, meaningless things, they just don't matter anymore.
Hmm.
And as she's saying this, you can see the wheels turning in Jack's head.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
That's a
such a
good
great
one.
quote.
That's a really good quote.
Yeah.
Good choice. That's a really good one.
Yeah. And in a way, I think it's an Easter egg too to season 3, episode 9,
Mhm.
when Jack is laid up in the bed with pneumonia
Oh, yeah.
and Elizabeth is pouring her heart out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, completely.
Yeah. Faith and Frontier, some themes for me,
Mm-hmm.
second chances and new beginnings. So
Mm-hmm.
Abigail deciding to reopen the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
This symbolizes a turning point in her grief and that people can start anew after loss. And for her, that is, of course, finding her purpose with reopening the cafe
Mm-hmm.
after the mine disaster.
Yeah.
Empathy and understanding, and reaching for dreams and your full potential. So,
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth's compassion towards Bo and her dedication to helping him learn to read despite his previous teacher's assessment highlight the importance of recognizing individual challenges, offering personalized support, and that everyone deserves a chance to reach their full potential.
I love those.
Yes, and like I've said, everyone needs a teacher like Elizabeth.
Oh, Everybody
Yeah.
does. Working in elementary school, I realized just how blessed we are with how
Yeah.
far we've come in education. And there's
Yeah.
so many resources
Yeah.
to help and support students
Yeah.
these days and whatever they need. And you realize that that was so rare during
Yeah.
this time
Mm-hmm.
of Coal Valley. And the fact that Elizabeth was so determined and
Yeah.
didn't just toss him to the side or said, well, that's how you are. Sorry. Good luck.
Yeah.
She really was very much ahead of her time in the research and the work that she did to make Bo so successful and finally help him learn to read
Yes.
and read out loud.
Yeah, for sure. Just some more themes: humility, forgiveness, and reconciliation. So this would apply to Jack regretting the hurtful words
Mhm.
to Elizabeth and him attempting to make amends. This shows the importance of owning up to your mistakes, seeking forgiveness, and mending relationships. The power of encouragement. So we see that with Elizabeth encouraging Abigail
Mhm.
with reopening the cafe. That scene when Jack takes Elizabeth to see Abigail because she didn't come home.
Mhm.
She says that opening the cafe is a great idea, and she is complimenting her baking. She said that her baking is better than even the cooks that she grew up with at her home in Hamilton.
So
And
sweet.
this highlights how a simple affirmation can uplift someone's spirit and open new doors.
That's so true. I
Yeah,
really love that you brought up that theme of encouragement because these three characters, they really all encourage each
yeah,
other. They just
yeah,
keep passing it on, the three of
yeah.
them. It's so cool.
And then community and support.
Mhm.
It shows how people are stronger when they support one another. Example, Jack and Elizabeth working together to help Bo, or the town supporting Abigail with the cafe. And
Mhm.
I love the scene. They cut it into two parts. So, there's the scene when we see Jack and Elizabeth walk up to the little table that Abigail has outside the
Mhm.
cafe. And then there was
Mhm.
the one before that when Miles comes in because he smells the baked goods. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
I think you need to make more, Miss Abigail.
Yes. Oh,
And
that's
she
such a sweet moment.
looks out and she just sees all the people, and it was just so sweet.
That's so cute.
So, what is the message that you took away from this episode overall, and how do you think that the themes and message of this episode apply to today?
I know it sounds cliche, so I don't want to just say like it's a message of don't give up, but truly, I think that is very much the message of just not giving up and keeping going and choosing to do something when it doesn't seem possible or choosing to do something even though you know it's going to be challenging. I mean,
Yeah,
all of these characters chose that in this episode.
yeah,
None of them really took the easy way out. They
yeah,
all took steps and took others'
yeah,
advice to get to where they were at the end of the episode. And I mean, for me personally, I mean, that's something that I would like to and would hope to live by every day.
yeah.
And I'm someone that likes to encourage and uplift others.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this episode was really special.
Yeah, I agree with your message. Just never give up.
Mm-hmm. If it's a life move, a career move, learning a new
Yeah,
skill, pursuing a relationship.
yeah. And always have compassion.
Yes, that's so important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we don't have any listener comments about this episode, but our Hardy's trivia question. This is a very obscure question, meaning it's something you would really have to pay attention to get the answer right. So the question is, what was the date on the contract that Abigail signed for the cafe?
Ooh. Good question.
Leave your answers in the comments of this video. And just to clarify, you couldn't really see the year, so it's just the month and the day that I'm referring to. Yes. All right, Hearties. Well, I think that wraps up our review of When Calls the Heart, Season 1, Episode 7. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about it in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of our reviews for When Calls the Heart, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube and follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Swing My Heart Podcast, and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.